Ladies and gentlemen of YouTube, welcome back. I'm here to give my thoughts on The Walking Dead Episode 2, Season 1, Guts. It's an interesting name, sure. I don't, it's whatever. Alright, so the episode starts out, and eventually in this video I'm going to be a pervy wanker. But you know what I'm about to say if you remember the episode. The opening shot of the episode is Amy walking towards Lori with a bucket of mushrooms, I think, or berries. But the shot, the way they frame it, her ass is just taking up the whole screen. I think you're supposed to be looking at the bucket, but not me. I'm looking at Amy's ass the entire time. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Call me what you want to call me. One of them is just a man. Okay. Next after that, you see Rick, and the shot is awesome. The shot from episode 1, where you pan back from the tank, up, 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 and then that's the end. Well, episode 2, you start off at the top, and you pan down, 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 back to the tank. I think that was a really, really smart choice. I like that a lot. Another another funny moment in this scene is when Rick hits his head. Glenn's like, "Hey, are you there?" And Rick's like, "Bam!" Hits his head. I love that. By the way, I'm trying to just blow through this because I just want to get this done because I don't have a lot of time to do this video. Okay, so Rick hits his head. Glenn talks to him on the thing, tells him what's what. He tells him he has to make a run for it. Awesome dialogue throughout, and Rick opens the tank, hits the zombie in the face with a shovel. Um, Although that zombie makeup of the zombie that gets hit in the face by the shovel and then half his face is split apart. I'm not trying to be overly critical, but that particular zombie is kind of weird to me because when he hits him in the head with a shovel, instead of the face being bored inward, which it would if you hit a rotting corpse with a shovel, instead it looks like the face is being borne outward. I don't know, it just looks weird to me. I guess you could make the argument that, well, he hit him in the face with a shovel, and then he ripped the shovel back out, therefore it pulled the skin forward. Sure, you can make that argument. Or you could also make the argument that it's hard as hell to make makeup effects that look three-dimensional like that inward. It's hard. And anyway, whatever. Alright, and another funny thing, I love that when Rick gets out of the tank, behind him, or behind the zombie that's on the screen, you see a big sign that says breakfast and lunch. And I love it. If you pay attention to the background in The Walking Dead, you'll find so many funny things. So Rick and Glenn start running, and something strange happens. Rick doesn't close the gate, and that is just weird. What I'm saying is, there's a gate at the front of this alley. You can clearly see the gate. Glenn opens the gate in order to get to Rick. Glenn opens the gate, says, "Whoa, not dead, don't shoot me," whatever. And then they run back where Glenn came from, but they don't close the gate behind them. Why do they do that? There's no at the time, there was no zombies blocking the gate from being closed. They could have closed that gate and the zombies would not have been able to get to him. We know this because in a later episode, they do exactly that. Daryl closes the gate, and look, guess what? The zombies can't get through it. So I don't know what the hell they were doing. I guess you could chalk it up to Rick still doesn't have the right mindset for the world that he now finds himself in, so to speak. He needs to perfect his survival skills, like closing gates behind you, that sort of thing. So Glenn takes Rick to see the rest of the group that were in Atlanta to get supplies. And I immediately hate Andrea when you meet her. I immediately hate her. The way they introduce Andrea is awful. First thing that you see of Andrea is she's pointing a gun at Rick's face, and she pushes him against the wall. She's like, "You son of a bitch, we ought to kill you." And it's just stupid. It doesn't feel like a natural response. It feels like something that's being forced. And the facial expressions that she makes are just awful. And the way they really fucked up when that is one of the worst parts of the episode is meeting Andrea. They fuck it up when they meet Andrea because in the comic book I like Andrea. Andrea is one of my favorite characters in the comic, but she's like the worst character on the show, and that just pisses me off. Okay. Yes, I'm reading my notes. Oh, and then you see Michael Rooker as Merle Dixon, one of the best characters in the whole show by far. The first time you see him in this episode, he doesn't have that much depth to him. He's just a loud, racist, drug-addicted mongoloid. But later in the series, you come to really love Merle. But right now, he's just an asshole, but he's a lovable asshole. He really is. I love Merle. So, Merle beats the crap out of T-Dog. Rick punches him. Introduces himself as Officer Friendly, which is hilarious. I do not remember that from the comic book. That sounds like an invention for the show, but I love it. Officer Friendly. It's hilarious. Another one of my favorite lines in the episode, at least, is when Merle says, "These parts of town ain't safe from what I hear. Ain't that right, sugar tits?" Oh, man. Okay, that was just fucking funny. Alright, pardon my language, I'm sorry. I get excited. Um, I love that. The sugar tits moment was just perfect. Glenn in the show was really, really good. I love Glenn. I love the actor who plays Glenn. And he's like right out of the comic. The Glenn in the show is pretty damn close to the Glenn in the comic. Although I'm glad that they don't shave his head in season 3. That would just be dumb. I didn't agree with that. Another thing that I noticed that kind of defeats logic a little bit. Well, again, you could kind of chalk it up to they're not really zombie smart, so to speak. But they're in the store. They're in a department store. They're worried about the zombies breaking through the glass. But other zombie shows and movies have clearly stated that when you're just staring in front of a mob of zombies, they get really riled up and they get aggressive, almost enough so to knock a date down or knock a glass window down. Why Rick and Andrea are just standing in front of the door while all the zombies are bashing into it? Why would you want to stand there and continue to let them know that you're there instead of in the hopes that maybe they'll forget and just wander off? No, we're going to stand here and advertise ourselves as a warm dinner. Idiots, but whatever. I love the banner between T-Dog and Merle. It's great. You know, what can you say? I love it. One of the things that annoyed me the most about this episode is a particular zombie. They go into the sewers, and there's a zombie in the sewer who's eating a rat. Okay. But then the zombie, like, growls, and it sounds like a pterodactyl. It's just like the fakest kind of sound you'll ever hear in your entire life. I don't know who was running the sound department on that particular episode, but Robert Kirkman has clearly stated that he did not want the zombies to sound like dinosaurs. He wanted them to sound like a zombie would sound. And for the most part, the show, they do that, but that particular zombie, wasn't up to par, in my opinion. I love the scene where they're chopping up the body. It's great. Um, Probably the funniest line in the whole show. Rick saying this to the group. Think about something else. Puppies and kittens. And T-Dog replies, dead puppies and kittens. Funniest line of the whole episode. We cut back to the camp a few times to see Amy pacing back and forth because she's worried. Again, I love Amy. Amy's really good in the show. I like Amy, and I like the actor who plays Amy, Emma Bell. She's great. She's great. She's great. Damn, I'm running out of time, and yet I'm almost done here. Fuck, I'm just gonna push through. The video's a little long. Oh well. Alright. Another thing that I seem to have commented here about is that the zombies in this show, in general, look so real. I mean, they look frighteningly real, the zombies. And it's awesome. So Rick covers himself in the guts, so does Glenn, blah blah blah. It starts raining, they're found out, they're had, and they start running, and for some reason, like, what's the right word for it? The cinematography in this scene is crazy good. Everything's got like a nice silhouette to it, and it's just awesome. The scene where they're running in the rain with the guts and the zombies and the axe and the chopping, it's awesome. Alright, using the car alarm to lure the zombies away from the door is pretty smart, you know. I don't know if I would have broken the driver's side window so that the zombie could just reach in and grab my ass. Maybe I would have broken the back window and just crawled through. But nonetheless, using the car alarm was smart. Okay, so they get ready to leave, and T-Dog has the key, and he drops it down the drain. And Merle's like, you know, you did that on purpose, and all. There's not much to say. All I can do is repeat the scenes, because you all know how good it is. I mean, this episode is crazy good. And so T-Dog is just like, man, I'm sorry, and he leaves. It feels really real. It doesn't feel fake. It doesn't feel forced. It feels visceral, and it feels real, and it's awesome. Wait, did I touch? I think I missed something way at the beginning. Oh, I did. Lori's sex scene. I forgot all about it. To put it shortly, Lori is not exactly the picture of a perfect wife that I would have in mind in my head. So yeah. And yeah, in this scene, Dale says, you know, if you see anything, holler, I'll come running, you know, telling her, you know, and she just whispers under her breath, yes, Mom. Like a teenage girl, she's immediately a bipolar bitch, and I don't like her. Alright, so yeah, and I love Glenn. At the end of the episode, they get everyone, they leave Merle behind by accident, blah blah, you know. And, Glenn drives down the highway with the sports car as fast as he can go and just revs it and has some fun. And then the perfect song to the ending plays, and that is episode 2, Guts. Episode 2, Guts, is a great episode of The Walking Dead. It's one of those episodes that doesn't really get old when you watch it. You know, I've seen it quite a few times, that episode, and it's awesome every time. Episode 2 is great. You know, just like every episode, it has its shortcomings. You know, no episode is perfect, but this episode is really, really good. Next is, if I remember correctly, Tell It to the Frogs. I think that's the next episode. And that video will be up when it's up. Thank you for watching. Comment, like or dislike, whatever you prefer, you know. But most of all, comment. I like comments, you know. Alright. See you guys till next time. Peace.